Are you ready to ace the CPA auditing and attestation exam? Welcome to our ongoing series designed to help you succeed in the auditing and attestation module. In this video, we present 60 essential trivia questions that will sharpen your knowledge and test your understanding of critical auditing concepts, procedures, and standards based on the latest exam requirements. These questions cover everything from audit risk and internal controls to financial statement assertions and compliance. Whether you're just starting your CPA journey or looking to fine-tune your skills, these trivia questions will help you feel more confident on exam day. What you'll learn: key concepts of audit risk and materiality, internal control testing procedures, audit evidence and sampling techniques, ethical responsibilities of auditors. Much more, based on the AUD module of the CPA exam. How to use. Pause the video after each question to think through your answer. The more you practice, the closer you'll get to CPA exam success. Don't miss out. This is just the second part of an ongoing series, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated as we release more valuable CPA exam prep content.